Two of the most breathtaking sights on the tour were Victoria Falls in Zimbabwe, which is one of the 7 wonders of the world, and Valley of 1,000 Hills. I remember when we arrived at Victoria Falls off our tour bus, I looked over at my 2 play sisters who were standing right next to me and I said, God's hands definitely formed these falls. It's like you could see that only God could have created this because no man could ever create anything this beautiful. There were no words to describe Victoria Falls. It's something you have to see for yourself.
We did have a few adventurous in the group and did bungee jumping off of one of the bridges. And then, of course, there's a Victoria Falls riverbed that when you bungee jump off of this particular bridge, that's what you're jumping into. And our friend Tony Richards. Actually, I have to tell you that Tony wasn't going to do it, but there were 2 young ladies that decided to do it, and he said, I can't go out like that. I have to man up and take care of this. So I can tell you, we got it on video, and all of them just said that it was an experience of a lifetime. Not only to bungee jump, which is one of the things that we don't all get to do or have the nerve to do, but to do it in Victoria Falls, Zimbabwe, over the Victoria Falls River. That in itself was spectacular.
Valley of 1,000 Hills. The reason why I really enjoyed the Valley of 1,000 Hills was because, to paint a picture, we first had to take bus rides to the valley, which was right outside of Durban. So we drove, and on the way there, all you seen was beautiful scenery outside on your left and your right. You seen lots of green trees and rolling hills, and it was just beautiful just on your way to going there. So when we actually got there, we pulled up and it said Fezulu Safari Park, and we rode up and we got off of the buses, and as soon as we got off, we seen 2 tribesmen. They were standing outside of what looked to be a hut. So they told us to come in, and they were welcoming us, and people started taking pictures with them, but they were like, go ahead, go in, because you are going to see pretty much an event when you actually get there. So we go through, and unfortunately they took us through a gift shop, and for some odd reason, every single person pretty much stopped. They forgot that we were going to see an event, and they decided that they wanted to shop right then and there. But the guides kept telling us, they said, no, go ahead, you will have time to shop once you return. So with a little bit of hesitation, all of the people that were there, as well as myself, we went through, and we went through a small little hill to go up, and then once we got over, we seen a big semicircle that had large concrete steps that everyone needed to sit on. So everyone gathered and sat down, found their seats, and then a speaker came out, and he introduced himself, and he started describing what we would see, which would basically be the day-to-day events of most of the tribesmen and women. So as he was speaking, I kind of, for some reason, tuned him out, and I looked over to my right-hand side, and all I seen were hills. And then it kind of dawned on me, oh, a valley of 1,000 hills, because it seemed like there were thousands of them. Hills just intertwining with one another, rolling over each other, and it was a beautiful scene. I mean, it was out of a picture book. You seen this stark blue sky, these green meadows, these hills that were rolling on top of them, and it was just beautiful. So I had to stop and cut myself off and go back to what the speaker was saying, and he described how we would see some of the events, and so then some of the tribesmen and women decided to come out and they started to perform for us. And they performed just daily events, some things like when a man would like to court a woman, which I really enjoyed because it showed how the women would sometimes turn away the men because they weren't interested. And it was just like how it would be in the States. You know, it was exactly what it would look like. It was the exact same type of situation where the men got turned down and he was a little sore about it, but the woman still was like, no. So I really loved that.
The Valley of 1,000 Hills was breathtakingly beautiful. Just being up there, and of course, a lot of the locals put on this beautiful show for us. The dancing, I've been trying to work out some of those dance steps of my own. But maybe I just need to stretch first. It wasn't quite working out, but the Valley of 1,000 Hills was just beautiful. I mean, just the natural beauty of being up that high and seeing all of these hills as far as the eye could see. I mean, if you can, those of you who haven't been there yet, if you can imagine being in the highest point possible, and then everywhere you look are just these beautifully landscaped hills. Beautiful with the trees. If you see any movies that have Africa in it, you know the trees I'm talking about. I don't know them by name, but you'd see that it's like a movie. I mean, actually, it was better than a movie because looking at all of the pictures that I took from the trip, not one of the pictures do it justice. Just the natural beauty.
As the sun is setting, there's no sunset in the world like an African sunset. It really isn't. And to be out on the water and to watch this and to watch the reflection is just a beautiful thing.
Sigeleli Afrika, malupanganiso pondolwayo, izwa imitandazo yetu, Nkosi sigelela, jina lusapho lwayo. Uza moya, Murena buluka sichaba sa Yesu, upedise bintoli matenyeho. Murena buluka sichaba sa Yesu, upedise bintoli matenyeho. Usibuluke, usibuluke, sichaba sa Yesu, sichaba sa Afrika. Usibuluke, usibuluke, sichaba sa Yesu, sichaba sa Afrika.
A life-changing experience, the WHUR World Tour to South Africa. Narrated by Tony Richards, produced and engineered by Elrico, Ghost Gillison, Sean Plata, and Tony Richards. Special thanks to Jim Watkins, Jean and Siobhan Harley, Felicia Davis, Angela Stribling, Stu Zungu, Advantage International, South African Airlines, and South Africa Tourism USA. This has been a production of WHUR World HD2.